Welcome, everybody, to a brand new episode of the Vantage Point Podcast. I'm Anthony Manaya. Welcome to my show. This is a show where I break down the quotes and the posts that I put up on social media. So, family, if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the show. Also, leave a review if you listen to the audio version of this. And also, leave a comment below if you find this valuable. Leave a thumbs up. Help with the YouTube algorithm. It's helping, fam. I see it. A lot of people are subscribing to the podcast because of you liking it, watching it, sharing it, all that great stuff. So, with that being said, let's jump into today's episode. Stop chasing, start attracting. No, I'm not saying cross your toes. I'm sorry. I just think that's funny. Okay. I'm not saying cross it. All right. I'm not saying cross your toes and wait for things to come to you. Oh man, I'm talking about going all in on the things you have full control of and allowing the results to be what the results are supposed to be. Go all in and keep making adjustments. The caption on this quote is attracting means moving with intention and giving all of yourself to something slash someone and allowing the results to be what it is. Things fall into place because you've influenced the future towards that direction. Make meaningful moves, connections, and decisions. Take action and keep adjusting along the way. So, stop chasing, start attracting. What does this mean? Again, we all know about the law of attraction. We all know about people who sit around and wait for things to happen to them, people who hope and wish, and they sit there waiting because they visualized it or they wrote it down or they put a vision board on it and they visualize things to come into existence, speak it into existence, right? Here's the thing. If we can change our perspective on these things, we would see what's actually going on. When I say stop chasing, right? A lot of you are making moves and making decisions when you're not fully prepared for it. You're not prepared. You don't really understand the game. You're not giving yourself to the game. You're not taking the time to see what is the best strategy with the limited information that I know, right? What is the best move to make to get this result with the limited resources, the limited information, where I am right now? How can I use what I have available to me right now to my advantage to get the results that I want? So you're chasing, forcing something to happen when you're not prepared for it or you're not good enough, right? And this is the thing that many people don't want to admit to themselves. Some of you are just not good enough. What is the issue with that? What is the issue with that? Why do we instantly get triggered by the fact that some of you are not good enough? And that's not being good enough is not permanent. Not being good enough is a moment. It's a situation. It's right now where I have put myself in this position, or I have been neglecting some part of my life, or I haven't just gotten to it yet. So I'm not good enough. Just like how you started off driving. You're not good enough at driving just yet, but you had to put in the hours and the time and then you got good, right? Well, some people are still not good, right? But they still passed the test. What is my point? My point is right now you may not be in a situation where it's you may not be in the best position, but you have to take ownership and control of that. But you first have to be honest with yourself. You got to tell yourself the truth, fam. The easiest person to lie to is you. And that's the worst person to lie to. You should not lie to yourself. Always tell yourself the truth. If at this moment you're not good enough, don't feel bad about it because that's not permanent. You can make one decision. You can spend the next 5 hours studying something. Boom, you are better than you were 5 hours ago if you spend the next 5 hours doing it, right? It's like, hey, if I spent 5 hours doing something or studying something, or I spend the next week doing something, you are better than you were at this current moment right now. So, fam, stop chasing. Stop going after things, right? Start attracting means, listen to me, because this could be like, yeah, Anthony, you say go after it, go all in. Listen, start going all in on you. Start bettering yourself. And the way you do that is change your perspective on some of the stories you've committed to. The stories about yourself that you're not good enough, the stories that you're not worthy enough, right? But we're talking about in a permanent sense. I'm not good enough. Aw. And then that's it. That goes on to the next moment, the next moment, the next versus, yeah, duh. I'm not good enough at this moment. I'm not prepared enough at this moment. Let me get better at this. And then I'm great. And then I get great. I get better and better and better every time. So what's the issue? What is the excuse? What is the problem? Right? Why do we make growth or getting things that we want? Why would we make it so difficult? Right? Why do we make it so extra, so abstract? We want it to be something else. Think about this, fam. If you do not want to take action in your life, what happens in your life? If you have no intention to take action, no intention, I'm talking about zero, right? You've committed to the story that you're not good enough. You committed to the story, and I'm talking about permanently not good enough, that you can never make it happen, as if you're not a human being and you're not built to make things happen, right? So you committed to these stories. Now what becomes important? Sitting around hoping and wishing that one day things will change on its own. One day you're going to get the results. One day, one day, one day. All this one day stuff. It's comfortable for people. It's pleasurable for people, right? It allows people to stay the same, which there is no staying the same, either growing or dying, right? But psychologically, one feels like they're staying the same. So they stayed in the same place, and then they say, okay, well, one day I'm going to make this happen, when they can just move at their slow pace. They can move like a snail. Oh, I'm one day going to do it, because they're so afraid to do things, or they're so lazy. And you have to be honest with yourself. Stop feeling bad about the truth. Stop feeling bad about the truth. You only feel bad about the truth if you feel like it's never going to change. If it's never going to, if you feel like you can never get out this situation. There is no problem a perspective change can't solve. There's no problem a change in perspective can't solve, right? Because you can look at your situation and say, if I see it from a different angle, it becomes a totally different experience. But some of you are so committed. You're committed to the story. You're committed to, oh, you're not good enough. You can't do this. You can't do this. Like as if you're not a human being, and that you can't just set your mind to something and do it. Some of you are lazy. Some of you are committed to the stories you tell yourself that are not even true. You're afraid to make a move. You're afraid to offend people. You're afraid to bet on yourself. This is why when I say go all in, right here, I'm saying, it's about going all in and taking full control of the things you have full control of, and allowing the results to be the results that it's supposed to be. So if you lost your job, there was a reason why you lost your job. All I'm saying is study it, right? And if you took responsibility of it, you'd be like, okay, why did that happen? Okay, cool, fine, boom. What can I do to make myself more valuable moving forward? If you just got out of a relationship and it was intense and you left this relationship, cool. Why did that happen? Stop blaming everybody else. Look at yourself. What could you have done better? Right? In any partnership, in business, in relationships, in your jobs, and whatever, in any environment you're in, or anything that you started that has failed, okay, cool. You've learned. Yes, it's painful. Yes, it's difficult. Yes, it still hurts. We're not ignoring that. But what we're saying is, you are in the new. You are in the new, right? You are in the new. Every end is a new beginning, and you are in the new. So now what happens, right? You have to continue to adapt and adjust, adapt and adjust. This is how you attract things into your life, by giving all of yourself to something, knowing that it doesn't matter what happens. We're talking about giving all of yourself to something. But what if I get hurt? What if it fails? What if you're talking about all your things that you're looking to avoid are the things that you need to grow, are the things that you need to see for yourself, the things that you need to go through to grow and learn and study. To be afraid of that, or to not be willing to embrace that, you're never going to understand. You're never going to get you're never going to understand the foundation of the things that you fear if you don't see it for yourself. You have to see it for yourself, fam. You have to commit yourself all in, give all of yourself to it, and then the results will be the results it's supposed to be, right? And it's interesting what happens when you commit and you look to adapt and adjust to whatever comes your way, that things start happening for you. Again, and this is where people confuse it, think it is something magical happen. And people would say, oh, the universe is blessing me, da da da. Whatever it is you want to think it is. What I'm saying is, of course, if you commit and solve every problem that comes your way, you're going to adapt and adjust and solve problems and understand it. Of course, you're going to get the results that others don't get because they quit a long time ago, because they left the game. They're half in, they're dipping their toe in the water, they're afraid, they're moving with hesitation. You're going full steam ahead, going all in, giving all of yourself to the process, seeing the details that people overlook. You're getting punched in the face. You know how it feels like. You develop that callus. You're not afraid. You're jumping into the unknown, knowing that it doesn't matter what happens. What matters most is how you react and how you respond. And it's about taking control and ownership of that, and then continuously doing that, going all in, adapting and adjusting, seeing it for yourself, and then say, okay, can I keep doing this while the people around you are hesitating? I don't want to go through that. That's too much. That's intense. I don't want to go through that. I'm afraid. I don't want to go through that. I'm lazy. Fine. Do whatever it is you want to do, right? Allow people to do whatever it is they want to do. This is why it's so attractive when that one person is going all in and betting on themselves, right? They just keep going and going and failing and failing. And everybody talks about that person, right? Because they wish they were that person. They wish they can move like that. They wish it, and they always want to bring people's failures in. Oh, you failed in this, or you failed in that, or you couldn't do this. Oh, you're not there. You're not where you want to be. Just let they're spectators, fam. They're spectators. What do spectators do? They criticize, they judge, they hate, and all rightfully so, because they're sitting on the sidelines watching the players play. And in the game is a different perspective when you're in the game, right? You're observing the game, you're playing it, you're failing, you're adapting, you're adjusting, while the spectators will all say, yeah, you should have done this, you should have done that, we can do this. They all judging you, rightfully so. It is what it is. So to get whatever it is that you want, to attract whatever it is you want, you have to give all of yourself to the process. The process is the end result. Go all in on it with no hesitation. Take calculated risk. Don't go in there again. We're not talking about crossing your fingers and your toes and jumping into it saying, okay, I hope it's going to work out for me, because it won't work out for you if you're just crossing your fingers hoping. Because when you're doing that, fam, you're not seeing it play out. You're not seeing the details you need to see in order for you to make those adjustments. You have to go into it knowing, okay, it's up to me and it always will be. You go into the situation, how can I be a better version of me? How can I develop myself? How can I squeeze the juice out of this opportunity or this moment? How can I give myself all of my attention to this? That's how things come your way. It makes so much sense. You see a goal, this is what you want, you give yourself to it, you automatically stand out from the crowd the moment you go all in on you. The moment you bet on yourself, the moment you give all of yourself to a process and you see the process as the end result, you automatically stand out, fam. You automatically stand out. Well, everybody's debating, everybody's hoping, everybody's wishing, everybody's looking for pleasure, everybody's being pulled psychologically in multiple directions. And then there is you saying, I am going to be tunnel vision and I'm going to give myself to this, whether it's a business, a job, a person, whatever it is, knowing that it doesn't matter what happens. Fam, you don't get hurt when you understand you have control over how you feel, regardless what happens. You don't get hurt in a way where, oh, I'm going to be devastated for the rest of my life. Yes, in a moment, you're like, fuck, that's painful. Yes, you're going to be, that kind of hit me a bit hard. That hurts. Yes, it's like, this sucks. But it's all temporary. It's all temporary feelings. It's all part of the game. It's all part of the process. Embrace it all, fam. If you do this and you give yourself to anything, I promise you, you will get better results than the person who's half in, right? Everyone's chasing, hoping. Oh, chase. When they're not qualified to, or they're going into things unprepared. They're doing things where they're not really serious. Start in businesses knowing you have no intention to build a business. Going into these partnerships knowing that you have very little to offer, right? You're like, I'm really not going to give myself, I really don't want to do this. There's hesitation. And all of you know this. Let me see what happens if I dip my toe in the water and let me put a bit of myself into it just to see, just to see. And then boom, you get punched in the face. It blows up, right? It just ends in disaster, rightfully so. Because from the very start, you were just like, oh, let's see what I can grab. Let's see if I can manipulate the system, or let me see if I can manipulate someone, or let me go chase. When you start chasing, things start running away from you. It's like, oh, come on. I don't want that. But when you start becoming more valuable, you start becoming more valuable. You start developing yourself. You start patching up those holes in your body. You start understanding the game. You start giving yourself, you start studying, you start analyzing the details within yourself, right? Seeing yourself, being honest with yourself and telling yourself the truth. Everything becomes clear. Now things start coming to you, right? Things start coming your way. It's interesting how life works, right? Because when you have an ocean, a field of people not doing, not taking responsibility, not taking action, and then there's that one person, you, going all in on yourself, betting on yourself, right? What happens? You stand out. That's what I'm telling you guys to do. So, I love you, fam. Appreciate you for listening in. If you found this episode valuable, comment below. Give me some fire emojis in the comments. Give me some thumbs up. And I'll catch you guys next time. I love you all. Take care. Peace.